Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Taurus Root. We're going to take a look at the accused Bryan Kohberger in the Idaho murder case. So let's just dig right into this. Astrology is really a study of pattern and pattern recognition. So let's just take a look on the inner ring here. We've got his natal chart. You can see all this Scorpio energy. We don't have the exact time of birth, so I'm not sure where the midheaven is in all of this. But um, just real quick, we've got the Sun, Pluto, and Jupiter very tightly conjunct here at the end of Scorpio. And then you've got Mercury conjunct the North Node in the middle of Scorpio, and you've got Venus in retrograde in her detriment in the second degree of Scorpio. So when you're looking at murders and violent crime, Mars is always the first thing to look at. It's just Mars is action, Mars is aggression, Mars is competition, Mars is warfare. So when you're thinking about killing, you're thinking about the action of aggression. And so looking at Mars is going to be very important. We can see that his Mars is at 24 degrees of Leo, which is square to all this stuff is at about 28 degrees, 26 to 29, something like that in Scorpio. So we've got a square between all of this scorpionic energy and Mars, which is the natural ruler of Scorpio. Um, Now, on this particular evening of the murders, let's take a look at where everything is and how it's influencing all of this natal chart. So again, looking at Mars first, we got Mars right here at 24 degrees of Gemini, right? So we can see that Mars is making an exact sextile to natal Mars. So his Mars is being amplified by the transiting Mars. But that's also giving it an aspect over here to all these planets in Scorpio. And yeah, so this Mars is very prevalent. But if we kind of go around, we'll talk about this moon in a second. But the moon had just transited his natal moon, and had just been here conjunct Mars here. So this Moon Mars conjunction, could have led to his emotions leading into the couple days before the murder. But if we get over here, see we have all these planets are here in the late 20s. I think Mercury here is about 24 exactly, but they're all activating this square to Mars and all of these planets. The Pluto, Jupiter, Sun conjunction is being activated by Venus already and very closely by Mercury and the Sun. If we keep going around, we'll also see that there's Pluto at about 26 degrees. So the other sort of modern day ruler of Scorpio is in aspect to this conjunction here in late Scorpio, and in aspect to his natal Mars, and has been for a while. And then if we go down here even further, we've got Jupiter I guess Neptune's at about 24, 23 maybe, but Jupiter's at 29. So both of these are exactly trine the natal stellium that he's got here in late Scorpio. But it's also making something of an aspect here to his Mars and amplifying his Mars in that way. So that's kind of the quick, long, and short of it. Another really interesting pattern that I noticed, if we just look at the inner chart here, just look at his natal chart, we can see the Sun is here and his North Node is here. So if we go back a week or so, 2 weeks, the Sun is going to be conjunct the North Node. If you go back just a few days, it's going to get closer to the North Node. And if we look back at the moon a few days back, 4 days back or so, the moon was about right here, which would have meant there was a full moon conjunct. This is the North Node, and the South Node of the moon is down here. So there was just an eclipse just prior to this event, and I'm sorry, to his birth. There we go. Um, you'll see why I made that slip there in a second. So right here's the sun. Here's the moon. A few days before he was born, the moon was here, and the sun was closer to this north node. When there's a full moon or new moon conjunct the nodes, that's when eclipses happen. So what this means is he was born just a few days after an eclipse, a lunar eclipse. So now let's look at the chart of the time of the murder. Here's the sun, just about a week before his birthday, but where's the moon? Here it is again in Cancer. So a few days back, the moon was here and the sun was here. And if we look, there's the nodes of the moon in transit in 2022. And so these murders actually happened after, a few days after the same eclipse that he was born under. It's a little bit opposite because it's north node conjunct south node. So he was going through his nodal opposition when this happened. You see the north node's here, and in his natal chart it was here. So it's a pretty interesting little pattern there that this event happened in almost an exact replication of his birth chart as far as the relation to the eclipse season goes. He was born just a few days after the eclipse in Scorpio Taurus, and he is accused of murdering these 4 people a few days after the eclipse in Scorpio Taurus. All right, that's enough for right now. There's always more to dive into all these charts, but there's always patterns within patterns within patterns. So thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll catch you next time. Take care.